I view that as being inhuman. I view that as I would never do that. Right when it was some things that I was trying to do that I felt were important, things that I felt would help other people, started happening to me. If somebody's watching me, then they know enough about me to know that I have no fear of death. So to me don't mean it just confirms that what I said was true.
I happen to think there's a gay mafia in hip hop.
Right.
Not rappers, you know, the editorial presidents of magazines. This is gay mafia, my man.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They are in power.
Yes. Do I believe there's people behind the scenes that are pushing buttons? Yes. They want you to be down with their in order to push the button for you? Absolutely. And this is part of it. You just saw one of the Gay-Mafia members. That's who he is. That's who Puffy is.
It's no secret that speaking out against the powers in the entertainment industry comes with a big risk. Some people have managed to come out of it unscathed, but many haven't been so lucky. One of those unlucky ones was the iconic rapper Coolio.
I've had come at me on some weirdo, like on some.
He knew he was walking into dangerous territory, but he didn't care. He called out the industry, particularly what he referred to as the Gay-Mafia in hip-hop, an alleged group of powerful people controlling the scene from behind the curtain. Coolio's decision to expose these forces came with serious consequences, from being set up, facing threats, and eventually, some believe, paying the ultimate price with his life. Just before his sudden death, about a month or so before, Coolio was dropping some heavy truths. He started speaking out about the darker side of the entertainment world, things most people don't talk about because it all happens behind closed doors. Coolio wasn't just hinting at shady things. He was talking about it openly, and even said he had more to reveal. He wasn't afraid of what might happen next. And that's when things started to get suspicious. Many people believe his untimely death wasn't just bad luck or coincidence. The way he was talking, it seemed like he was ready to expose some big secrets, and that may have made him a target. In one of his last interviews, Coolio talked about how he was approached by some very powerful people who wanted him to do certain things.
That come at me on some, oh, you should do this type shit. And I was like, what? Man, why the would I do that?
Whatever they asked him to do, it was so messed up that it shocked him. He didn't go into detail about exactly what they wanted, but it was enough for him to realize that making it big in Hollywood came with some serious strings attached.
I view that as being inhuman. I view that as I would never do that.
He flat out refused to go along with their demands. Coolio thought saying no would not only protect his integrity but also be better for the industry as a whole. Unfortunately, that decision seemed to backfire. It's said that after rejecting these powerful figures, things started going downhill for him fast.
The things that I was trying to do that I felt were important, things that I felt would help other people, started happening to me.
Hollywood's elites tried to cancel him, making his life a nightmare. One of the most obvious examples of this was when he got set up at Los Angeles Airport. Coolio was arrested for possession of substances and a pipe. According to Coolio, he didn't even know those things were in his bag and swore up and down that he'd never put them there.
I ain't never did that. I'm not an idiot. When the first thing I said, when they pulled that pipe out that bag, I said, that's not mine.
But the situation was shady from the start. The police at the airport acted as if they knew exactly which bag to check, like they were tipped off in advance. It felt like a setup from the get-go. Coolio, being convinced he was framed, even asked the police to do a DNA test to prove the substances weren't his, but they came up with excuses instead.
I said, do a DNA test on it. If it's mine, then my DNA will be on it, right? Yeah, you're right. But we don't do that.
Frustrated, Coolio decided to take matters into his own hands and pay for the DNA test himself, hoping it would clear his name. But even then, it didn't help.
Let me pay to have it tested just so I can clear my name and motherfuckers know that I am not that.
The system seemed rigged against him. Eventually, he was charged with possession of a controlled substance and gun possession. He could have faced serious jail time, but as part of a plea deal, he avoided prison by agreeing to 3 years of probation and 45 days of community service. Even though he avoided jail, his reputation took a huge hit. Later on, during Coolio's trials, it came out that he wasn't involved in any kind of weapon possession. That charge was cleared, and he even addressed it in an interview, saying, "It was a misunderstanding. I do not condone the use of firearms, legal or illegal. Thanks to the court and the attorneys handling this for me so I can still do the work that I do." But while he dodged the weapon charges, the case for substance possession didn't go so well. He ended up being sentenced to 10 months in jail along with drug rehabilitation. A lot of people believe this whole ordeal was orchestrated because Coolio refused to play along with the elites in Hollywood. The airport incident was just one example of what Coolio said he went through, but he hinted at much more going on in the entertainment industry. However, he was scared to talk about it openly because he feared for his life and the safety of his family. In one of his last interviews, Coolio was visibly shaken, admitting he didn't want to reveal too much because he believed these powerful figures could do serious harm, not just to him but to his loved ones.
A lot of shit I know that I want to tell people. It's a lot of things that I want to teach, but I'm afraid. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm scared because I got 4 grandchildren. And I got children. I don't want nobody in my family to be hurt. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nothing to happen to my people.
There was no doubt that Coolio knew some dark secrets, and his hesitation to speak openly about everything showed just how real the threat was. Coolio also talked about how artists were manipulated back then, and many believe that it wasn't just paranoia. After he started opening up about what was going on behind the scenes, he began receiving death threats. Not long after, Coolio was found dead.
The Grammy Award-winning US rapper Coolio has died in Los Angeles. The legendary entertainer, whose real name is Artist Leon Ivy Jr., was 59 years old.
His death shocked everyone. He had gone to a friend's house to hang out, went to use the bathroom, and never came back out alive. His friends, worried when he didn't come out, checked on him and found him lying dead on the floor. The medics ruled it a heart attack, but with everything Coolio had been saying before his death, many people believed there was more to it than that. In the years leading up to his death, Coolio had been increasingly vocal about what he called the Gay-Mafia in Hollywood. He believed this group was controlling the careers of black rappers, forcing them into compromising situations to maintain power over them. Coolio wasn't alone in this belief either. He wasn't the first, nor was he the last to speak on this topic. Take Fat Joe, for example. He's also spoken about this so-called gay mafia in hip-hop. According to Fat Joe, the hip-hop community is most likely owned by gay, to be honest with you. They're owned by gay. I happen to think there's a gay mafia in hip-hop, not rappers. You know, the editorial presidents of magazines, the PDs at radio stations, the people who give you awards at award shows. This is a effing gay mafia.
There's a gay mafia in hip-hop. Right. Not rappers. You know, the editorial presidents of magazines, PDs at radio stations, the people who give you award at award shows. This is the gay mafia, my man. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? They are in power.
Lord Jamar also shares this view. He's talked about how there are powerful individuals in hip-hop who are pushing a specific agenda, and they expect people to get on board if they want to stay in the game.
Yes. Do I believe there's people behind the scenes that are pushing buttons? Yes. Want you to be down with their in order to push the button for you? Absolutely.
Jamar even suggested that P. Diddy, or Puff Daddy, is part of this gay mafia, but not at the top. He's just another piece of the puzzle. According to Jamar, Diddy isn't one of the godfathers of this system, but he's still very much under their influence.
You just saw one of the gay mafia members. That's who he is. That's who Puffy is. He's one of the members of the mob. But he might not be Don Carl. He's not the godfather. You see? He's not the godfather.
Things allegedly started to unravel for Diddy when he tried to stand up to these powers, especially when he filed a lawsuit against one of their companies. From there, things seemed to go downhill for him, according to Jamar.
A little too big for his britches. And when he ended up suing that liquor company, De Leon, that's when it all started going downhill from him.
This all starts to make a lot of sense, especially when you consider the other stories that have come out from people in the industry about Diddy. Take The Game, for example. He didn't come right out and accuse Diddy of anything directly, but he definitely dropped some eyebrow-raising hints. Back in the day, during an interview with Vlad TV, The Game started talking about how some high-profile rappers were living double lives. He said straight up that he believes there are several rappers in the closet, and these guys are overcompensating by hooking up with tons of women to hide their true selves.
how many gay people there are in
Oh,
entertainment.
no, I think that there are several rappers that are in the closet and gay.
Game was clear that he doesn't have any issue with being gay. He was like, be proud of it. What he doesn't like is when people pretend they're something they're not, because in his eyes, that's where all the drama and health issues start popping up.
Game has a problem with people that are pretending not to be gay, but that are, that are gay, because the number one issue with that is that you can be fooling somebody and you can give them AIDS.
When Vlad asked him if he had ever worked with a rapper who wasn't being honest about their S orientation, the Game didn't even hesitate. He was like, yeah man, there's some man fans out there in hip-hop.
Trying to pretend like he, loves girls and live the rap lifestyle, but really, he's a man fan.
He's a man fan.
Yeah. There's a lot of man fans out there in hip-hop.
He didn't name drop, but it was clear he was hinting at some big names in the industry. His whole point was that if you're gay, just own it. There's no reason to hide it or pretend to be something else. Fast forward to his appearance on Drink Champs last year, and the Game spilled even more tea about how he crossed paths with Diddy. So back in 2001, Game and his brother Big Phase 100 put together a mixtape that somehow landed in Diddy's hands. Naturally, Game was hyped, thinking he was about to sign a deal with Bad Boy and take his career to the next level. But nope, that didn't happen. According to Game, Diddy had some wild expectations in exchange for the deal. Allegedly, Diddy wanted Game and 50 Cent to get down in return for a record contract. Both of them were like, nah, we're good on that, and the deal never happened. But that's not where the story ends. Game went on to talk about how Diddy strung him along for 2 years, pretending they were going to make an album. During that time, Diddy was flying him all over the world, dropping cash left and right, buying him fancy jewelry, watches, and basically giving him the full Diddy treatment. They'd go shopping together and Diddy was acting like he was ready to launch Game's career. But once Diddy realized that Game wasn't going to take him up on whatever offer he allegedly had in mind, he basically handed Game over to Dr. Dre. That's when Game's career really took off. But it's wild to think about what might have gone down behind the scenes. Then there's 50 Cent's story, which also raises some eyebrows. Back in 2003, at Chris Lighty's wedding, Diddy allegedly made a weird offer to 50. He told 50 that he wanted to take him on a shopping spree. Now keep in mind, 50 Cent was already a well-established name in the industry by then. He was 28 years old and had nearly a decade in the game. So when Diddy made that offer, 50 was like, what did you just say? He even recalled the moment in an interview saying, I looked at him like, what did you just say? Let me move before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
At Chris Lighty's wedding, he told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
And let's not forget Usher, who has his own story about living with Diddy when he was just a teenager. Usher has openly talked about his time staying with Diddy, which he described as the Puffy Flavor Camp. I got a chance to see some things. I went there to see the lifestyle, and I saw it, Usher said during his first Stern Show interview.
Over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like? Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at.
So, Usher's one-of-a-kind learning experience known as Puffy Flavor Camp happened because a young Usher wowed music bigwig L.A. Reid with his musical skills. Next thing you know, he's jetting off to New York to crash with Puffy during the golden era of Bad Boy Records, all in the name of getting the real deal scoop on making it big in the music scene. It was pretty wild. It was crazy, Usher said while rattling off some of the biggest names in hip-hop who were a constant presence at Puffy's house, including Notorious Big, Lil' Kim, Faith Evans, Mary J. Blige, and Craig Mack. I was like the little brother, they called me Baby Boo, Usher spilled. But Howard was curious if there were any ground rules for him since, he was just a kid. He wasn't disciplinary. He was letting me be a young man, Usher shared with Howard. Even though he wasn't hitting the books in a regular school, they had a tutor around. And about that cash flow, Usher said he got a per diem, but just enough to keep him out of too much mischief. When asked if he'd send his kids to Diddy's camp, he was like, hell no. So you can imagine just how messy things must have been.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
So yeah, when you look at all these stories, it starts to make sense, especially considering where Diddy is now. He's currently sitting in jail, awaiting trial, and facing a mountain of accusations. People are saying that it's going to get really messy because more and more people are more likely to come forward with things to say about what they've experienced or what they know. People like 50 Cent, again. If you've been paying attention, you know that 50 has been on Diddy's neck for years.
That's why I don't be going to the Puffy parties. front and the back at the same time? What you talking about?
The two have been beefing for over 2 decades, but things escalated when Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy. When Diddy settled that lawsuit in record time, 50 wasted no time in dragging him online. He posted about how Diddy was quick to pay up but hinted that more trouble was on the way. In the caption, 50 said something along the lines of, "LOL, he paid that money real quick. Should have done that before the shark smelled blood. And here they come. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Every woman he's ever put hands on." 50 Cent didn't stop there. He announced plans to do a documentary on Diddy, promising to spill the tea on everything Diddy's been doing and all the people who have helped him get away with it. He reposted an article about him developing a documentary about Diddy and captioned it, "I thought Diddy was a billionaire music mogul. If he's smart, he will file bankruptcy now. Anyone with real money knows why I'm saying this. I'm the best producer for the job, guys. Here come the receipts." And when Homeland Security raided 2 of Diddy's homes in connection to these STF-icking allegations, 50 once again took to Instagram to clown him. In a post that's since been deleted, 50 wrote, "Just got real. The feds are in all the cribs. They got the kids in cuffs." And in another post, he flat out said, "There's no way Diddy's coming back from this. Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done." 50 wrote, "They don't come like that unless they got a case." Also, in one of his recent Instagram posts, 50 threw shade at Diddy with a video captioned, "Yo, this is fun to me. I had to share this. It made me laugh." The clip allegedly shows Diddy sliding into 50's DMs, starting off with a cringy "Hello Daddy," followed by a late-night invite for a drink. But when 50 points out the ungodly hour, Diddy persists with the invitation, only to get dissed for his association with Ciroc, the vodka brand he's been repping forever. Then it gets even juicier. Diddy promises a shopping spree the next day, trying to lure the person over, but they ain't having it. They're all like, "I'm good with my own cash." And just when Diddy's desperate enough to throw in a music video offer, the reply is savage. "LOL. Last time you had a hit, I was in high school. I'm good." And to top it off, they send over a meme of 50 Cent from Entourage, speeding away in his car and laughing his head off. Fast forward to the unsealing of Diddy's indictment, and 50 wasted no time throwing another jab. He posted a photo of himself with Drew Barrymore, captioning it with, "Here I am, keeping good company with Drew Barrymore, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house." It's clear 50 has no plans to ease up on Diddy anytime soon, and it honestly wouldn't surprise anyone if he ends up testifying in court. Then there's Katt Williams. Earlier this year, Katt kicked off the year by calling out a lot of people in the entertainment industry, exposing secrets and shady behavior. One of the names he didn't hesitate to mention was Diddy. Katt talked about how Diddy's parties were anything but ordinary, hinting that some wild and questionable stuff went down behind closed doors.
P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
Knowing Katt and how he's never been afraid to speak his mind, it wouldn't be surprising if he ended up doing more talking. This time, maybe in a courtroom, spilling even more details about what he knows.